We now continue our discussion on women in the pool industry with Kelli and Dan.
Let me know.
I guess you could say I'm trying to figure out a way that when I'm too old to be out in the field, bending over, those filters and the pipes and cutting things, ways I could sit at home. So things like that. And then I want to start taking the PHTA and Genesis classes for building and design.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because I want to be the builder, but mainly because I want to be the designer.
Yep. That's something there are a lot of people that do just that. And with that, it's interesting that you take that approach because a lot of designers, and this goes for architects as well, they're good at drawing pretty pictures, but reality of trying to construct what they draw oftentimes is just not possible.
Yeah.
So understanding the what it takes to build the structure by going to, like you said, the Genesis courses are great sources for that. Water Shape also has fantastic courses for that. There are a lot of opportunities that give you some background. So as you're drawing those fantastic 3D designs, that it's something that can be reality as opposed to just a pretty thing.
So when I first started doing pools, obviously I already knew I did not want to clean pools forever. Hated it as a kid, knew I'd hate it as an adult. But that's the way I think most people should get into pools, is starting from like a service side so that you can understand how the pool works and what doesn't work. And then at that point I wanted to become a builder, but I wanted to become a builder who built pools that not only was what the customer wanted, but was also for the service person.
That's how I started in the industry, just that way, doing service. And everything that I do today, everything that I have our team, it all revolves around the longevity and the serviceability. And without the service background, I think a lot of people that jump into building either from other industries or from other even sectors within our industry, without the service background, that's where you end up running into these nightmares, right? You've seen them. We've all seen them. I'm sure our listeners have seen them, where you just walk into your yard and go, "Who did this?" Like, what were they thinking?
Why is the cleaner line on the other side of the pool where the negative edge is for a 20-foot drop?
Yeah, all different crazy things that were just not really thought of in terms of the serviceability or longevity, because we've seen it from our infancies by dealing with it. So that's a great approach. I love it.
When it comes to builders, I think I want to phrase this correctly. When you have a builder that doesn't have a lot of experience within the pool industry, or they're just like, I'll just hire subs for everything. If you don't understand what each sub's job is and how it should be, that's where these pools become nightmares. Because maybe that sub, it might be the best buck, sometimes even when they're most expensive, but they did it wrong. The gunite's not level. I had a pool where the builder abandoned the job, went to it, and in the spa, they put a jet where there's no bench, right where the dam wall is to go into the pool, and the customer calls the jet now the kinky jet. Because of where it is placed when you stand up by it.
Well, maybe that was the intent, They say the Disney cartoon artists always had some interesting things hidden in all of the cartoons. Maybe that was that builder's way of.
The customer didn't even know what it was until my dad is like, "That's a jet, and why is it there?" And so the customer gets in because we were also looking at the benches to see if they were right, which they weren't either. And they stand next to that jet, and they're like, "Oh, this is the kinky jet."
That's funny. That's funny.
But if you don't know, how are you supposed to be like, hey, that's wrong? Or like, I've had it where I go in and I'm going to put the jets in after everything's been plastered and built, and it doesn't line up like it should because the pipe went down after gunite, or all those things. Or I went to a warranty recently, and I don't have experience getting lights out once they're plastered into the plaster, because they cut the pipe. This was a 320 light, so an 1.5 inch light. They cut the pipe too short when they installed it. So then when the plaster company came in, it did a bowling effect, and they ended up plastering the garment. So we had to figure out a way to not damage the plaster job, but get that light out. And, those are things that are going to happen if the builder is, one, just too busy and not seeing what's going on, or two, they just don't know at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, good builders, if it's a builder who's subbing out a lot or even all of the project, if they don't have that solid foundation and aren't committed to going out and inspecting every phase of the subcontractor's work before the next phase and subcontractor comes in, then unfortunately that's what homeowners end up with, right? Kinky jets. So
kinky jets, and what was the other one I had? All the returns to the pool were the in-floor system. Okay. There were no return, so that in-floor system was going to be on all the time. When the pool was on, it was on. Instead, it was supposed to be designed where it had its own pump.
Okay.
But because there was no other return, that's what they had.
Yeah, in the Midwest, that's actually not very uncommon that
really?
The filter pump is the circulation is all through the in-floor cleaning when in-floor cleaning is done. Builders do them different ways, but it's not that uncommon to run into that around our neck of the woods. And I don't have any reasoning for it other than the fact that the most in-floor cleaning is on gunite pools. We see very, very little on vinyl pools. Fiberglass, we never see any, but and gunite pools are not overly prevalent in the Midwest compared to where you're at, and in the Sun Belt and everything else. So I think it has to do with a little bit more experience when dealing with those types of things, just like we're talking about, right? So someone's just doing what they think is the way to do it. But there's all kinds of different things that if you had to look at from a service standpoint, you would certainly do things a little different.
Yeah. It's interesting. I like that we're from two different areas, so I can hear how you guys do things compared to us, and probably vice versa.
Yeah, and like we've said before, I've never had fires to deal with, and everything else. You got earthquakes, mudslides, all the beautiful part of California that I don't have to deal with. And you don't have to deal with the flatland of Illinois that is boring as all get out. And although we do have similar, I guess, sort of political environments and things like that, but the natural environments are definitely different.
Yes, I will agree with that one. We can have go to a pool with a bunch of pine trees around it within 30 minutes.
Yeah, I would love to live in California because of that. You can be in hour and a half, 2 hours in any direction. You're in a totally different place.
Oh yeah, it's really nice. I'm very, very lucky about that. I think that's one of the reasons I don't mind living where I do and paying what I pay, because I get those luxuries. Now, when my sister and my best friend try to convince me to move to Texas, well, now I have my definite reason of why I'm not coming here. I can't breathe when it's humid.
Yeah.
My hair gets oily because it's humid.
Yeah.
I also noticed that the parking lots are very massive.
Well, there's plenty of space for it, right?
Yeah. But I'm used to the cost of California.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't faze me. They're like, oh, it's so much cheaper here. I'm like, yeah, but your hourly rate, in some departments, I've learned pools, you make great money out here. But you have to look at those things. And I was very fortunate that I have a house that I rent for dirt cheap, but super nice, and plenty of room for me and the boys and my dogs. And pools in my area, there's too many pools and not enough qualified people.
Yeah, that's a great position to be in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Place your ad here and launch your product with the Talking Pools podcast. For information on sponsoring the Tuesdays with Kelli and Dan show, contact us at talkingpools@gmail.com.
And certainly different markets, like you're saying, have different values, I guess, in our industry, and different costs and different, I don't know how I would ever survive in Florida as a pool company.
Oh, I know.
Trying to do what we do. And also, I think it's difficult. We do, we're kind of like all facets: construction, service, retail. And, when you get down to Florida, especially, it's not very frequent that you find somebody that's doing everything. Everyone is very much more specialized, and it's obviously much more competitive. So it drives the cost factors totally askew from what we're used to in the Midwest.
Yeah. It seems like down there, they're improving on prices, but the prices that we hear people say, like on social media or during conversations, it seems like it's very cheap for pool service.
Yeah. It's funny, pool service, and we probably have a whole nother podcast on that, but, people in Florida, when they hear what we are able to achieve in that regard, I'm amazed they're not all migrating up here, because, we truly are getting upwards of $500 a month plus chemicals, where, that would be a whole year in Florida.
Yeah. Well, in Texas, my sister said that she starts for full service, I believe, about $230 a month. And that includes limited chemicals. Yeah. And where I'm at, it's now, I want to say it's starting for full service is probably about $150, $175. And it varies. So some people include limited chemicals. Some people, chemicals are extra on top of that. Filter cleanings in my area are all extra. Now, compared to Florida, we don't clean our filters as often, but we also oversize our filters.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We have some, especially in the recent years, with the crazy boom that's been going on, and all of the what I kind of classify as non-pool people that jump into our industry and all of a sudden are building pools, putting the 50 and 75 square foot cartridges on pools in our market, where the standard in our market is 400 to 500 square foot on a pool. Mm-hmm. So, my own pool is 32,000 gallon pool. It's about 1,100 square feet of surface area, and I've got a 420 square foot cartridge on it that most years I started up early April and close it down late October, early November, and I never have to clean that filter all year long. So, and that's, to me, that's the way a pool should operate when we're dealing with homeowners that want to have low maintenance and things like that. And in our market where maintenance is $400 to $500 a month plus chemicals, not, in a lot of the warmer sun belts, almost everybody has a pool person come and take care of it for. Our market isn't that way. It's definitely a luxury to have someone come and take care of your pool. So we try to oversize, like you're saying, and make it that it doesn't need to be another, lawn to mow for the pool owner, to try and make it as maintenance free as possible.
Now, I do find it interesting is you'll see online where they want a certain PSI on their filters, but where I'm at, it's not uncommon to have 0 PSI because of the variable speed pumps and these filters being a bigger size. And the pool still stays beautiful. You see great flow through it, and there's no problems.
Do you find when you eventually do tear those filters down to clean them that not the full height of the filter is actually being utilized, though?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Especially if they have like a 15,000 gallon pool and they put, a like 500 square foot filter or whatever is close to that on it. And there's no trees and nothing. It's just pretty bare.
Well, and I guess that makes it easy for maintenance too. Instead of cleaning them, you just flip them over and continue on, right?
No, you can't go. Bottom is not up. But yeah, they still can filter perfectly fine as long as you can see that there's flow and the pool staying clear. It's not that big of a deal. Now, if it's one of those single 150, 200 square foot filters, 0 is not going to cut it.
Yeah, 0 would be something that would bother me. I would change parameters around to, even with variable speed, I think I would be increasing speed, reducing overall run time or something so that I'm showing, 5 or 7 pounds at least on the filter to get better use of the filter, and instead of running 24/7 on the thing, drop it down to half that or whatever to get the turnover.
But when it comes to my area, we're, especially like of California, we're very mindful of our energy costs because, especially during the summertime, after 4 o'clock, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
And even with variable speed pumps, yes, they're very energy efficient, but at the rates we're paying, we try to have everyone either run their equipment at night or run it before 4 o'clock.
What do you know off the top of your head what you are paying a kilowatt hour there?
Oh God, I want to say peak is almost 50 cents.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty bad.
I complain about Illinois, but our energy prices in terms of gas, natural gas, I should say, and electricity are I want to say among the lowest in the country. We're about 13 cents overall a kilowatt hour. When you tack in all the fees and taxes and all that kind of stuff, it comes out to about 13 cents a kilowatt hour. So
I'm actually looking it up.
It's very reasonable to run pumps here, and especially variable speed pumps. It's
okay. It's not 50. It's not 50 cents, but it says peak is almost 30 cents.
Okay, so significantly more than we're paying for sure.
So yeah, people will believe me. They're on our asses about running it. I have a lot. They're like, no, we only need to run it 6 hours. No, you don't. But variable speed pumps in our market pay for themselves within 2 years, probably because of that. We say 2 years, but it's usually the first year.
Yeah, around here, it's on my own pool. I built this pool in 2006, and I had just single speed on it, and about 6 years in, switched over to variable. And metering the pump independently, the last year of the single speed and the first year of variable speed in my 6-month season, it saved me about $450 at 13 cents a kilowatt hour. So, for me, it was a huge savings that back at that time would have paid for that pump in about 3 seasons. And again, our seasons, depending, are 4 or 5, maybe 6 months, as opposed to year round. So definitely something worthwhile.
Oh, yeah. But like we had mentioned before, that's where we need to have that education about how to run those variable speed pumps, so that it's enough, and knowing it's enough, and not overrunning it, but not underrunning it.
Yeah, it's definitely a different animal than single speed stuff, and there's definitely a lot more of them being done wrong than right, I feel.
Yeah, I go to pools where it's 300 or 3450 RPMs running for 6 to 8 hours a day. And I'm just like, you're not getting what you can get out of this pump, so let's, change that. Also, if you're
Right.
running it like that, I would feel you're not going to get the same life expectancy out of it.
Yeah, anything that you're running hard is going to be much shorter, and also with the start stop, as opposed to putting it on a lower speed and having it run continually. The start stop on anything is where the heaviest part of the wear and tear comes in.
Yeah. So, and now my phone rings because someone's having problems connecting to their controller.
Well, I guess that's a good reason that we should and it's probably time that we should sign off for today. And
Okay.
Right.
Time goes by fast with you.
Yeah, well, it's fun. I'm having a good time. I hope you are. I hope our listeners are. And I would certainly love to see some listeners throw some comments or emails, talkingpools@gmail.com, with some ideas as to topics that they'd like to hear us touch on, as we're visiting with them every Tuesday. So if you get an opportunity to do that, please do reach out to us. Let us know what you think and how we can talk about things that might help you. So that'd be great.
Well, thank you guys for listening again to Tuesdays with Kelli and Dan. We will be back next week with something.
We'll talk to you again. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.